Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Megan Glova. We recently got a look at how the former Durham Police Headquarters could transform. Joining us now with that update is WRAL's Destinee Patterson. Hey, Destinee.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. So what's the plan and what did these renderings include?
So I was able to talk to developers today. They were tapped by City Council to take on this project, and they tell me that they have a lot of really big plans in store for people who are familiar with the building. It's in a state of disrepair, but these developers have plans to come in, put in things like affordable housing, an open air art museum. They're also talking about having lab spaces and places for minorities and women to work on their businesses as entrepreneurs. And the old Durham Police Headquarters building itself will be transformed into a boutique hotel. And all of this sits on more than 4 acres of land. So they have plenty of land to work with to really make this into a cornerstone of the community.
Wow, and do we know just yet how affordable that affordable housing will be, or is it still in the works?
So at this point, developers have allocated at least 92 units with an average of 53% AMI, between 30 to 60%. So that, think about people who are like teachers who work in law enforcement. It really matches that level of income. And then there's also room for people on a more lower income side as well. The way that the developers explained it to me, there's going to be different levels of availability for different units. They've got units from studios all the way to 3 bedrooms that they're planning to incorporate into this project. I did talk to some people in the community, though, who still want this to be even more affordable, and they want to see more affordable units put in place. Like I said, they're sitting at 92, and they'll have just over 300 total units. And so people in the community are calling for them to add even more. The developers tell me that, they're willing to be flexible, but it also still has to make sense for their financial bottom line.
And of course, it's an issue in a lot of places, basically everywhere, but how necessary is affordable housing in Durham specifically?
Yeah, like I said, the people that I talked to in the community today, they feel like what they have right now is a good start, but there's still a lot more room for improvement. People have been talking about affordable housing specifically on this plot of property for years. So you can tell just by talking to people in the community that this is something that they really feel passionate about. And based on the location, we're essentially in downtown, so this would also give people who don't make quite as much money for those luxury apartments to be able to have that good proximity and have that accessibility to the downtown amenities. So I think in Durham, and just by talking to people, they really feel like there is that need, especially for people who are in that middle income range.
And can you tell me how long the space has been empty for and what took so long?
What took so long is a great question. So just on my research that I've done, back in 2022, so 2 years ago, back in August, the city started exploring new options for this property. There was another development group that they were working with that they decided not to move forward with. They rejected that proposal, and here we are 2 years later, and they're finally starting to make some headway with that. This used to be the headquarters for the police department here in Durham, and they occupied this space until 2018. In 2018 is when they started to move over into their new space. So, it's been at least 6 years, but people in the community tell me that this building was kind of deteriorating even before that, and they don't even remember the last time people were in it. So, it's time for it to get a facelift.
And did developers happen to mention why they decided to add more than just housing and the hotel itself. It seems like they're adding a lot to the surrounding area to make it more of a community of sorts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that, again, the proximity to downtown also makes it a good location for a destination. And I think that that's a really big piece of this. There's also a highway that's right here, 47, that kind of disconnects this area, this part of downtown from some of the western neighborhoods. And when I was talking to developers and community members as well, they mentioned that by putting some development here that makes it more of a destination will make that division less so, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're hoping that by building this area up, it'll also act as a role model for other southern areas as they continue to try to integrate things like affordable housing. And at the same time, I mean, we all know that the Triangle has grown by way of tech. And so by them putting in things like lab spaces and incubator spaces for entrepreneurs, that also fosters that really strong piece of the community and in the area.
Definitely. So what happens next? What are the next steps, and how long of a project is this going to be?
So one of the developers told me today that they plan to start the first phase of construction in 2026, so it's about 2 years from now, year and a half. And it's going to be a multi-phase project. And he said that he's expecting it to take about 4 years to see it through to completion. He also told me that this project is going to cost about $300 million, but by the end of it, they're planning to have some equity out of this, and it'll be worth about $400 to $500 million. So ultimately, the plan is to build this area up, and then people will have a place where they can work and live and visit all in the same spot.
Okay, something to look forward to. Destinee, thanks so much. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. You can find more podcasts on WRAL.com. Just search podcast. From sports to true crime, we have plenty of ways to keep you informed and entertained. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.